Yep, I'm good.
And the music plays.
Mm-hmm. How does it start?
I can't remember now.
Love it. So catchy. So catchy.
Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
Oh, and I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond. But not this week, Steve.
That's right. In our next episode, we'll be covering Season 2, Episode 1B, The Wish Plant, with special guest Crystal Storm.
That's right. Longtime listeners will remember that Crystal was actually our very first guest on the show. She joined us for the Battle for Endor, and woo! What a trip we all took together with the Battle for Endor. But
do you call it a guest when it's like, torture?
Right.
It's like, oh, you're our guest.
I guess you could say Crystal was our first hostage. How about that?
Yes. It's so true. We definitely got her to. We tricked her.
Yes,
so the
we
fact
did.
that she's coming back is good. So
well, Crystal is deep in the world of Star Wars at the moment because she's been working on this Star Wars inspired audio drama called Legacy. So she's going to join us for the episode. We're going to talk a little bit about her original audio drama as well.
Yeah. So you guys have a long history together of watching bad movies, right?
Harrowing history together. Yes.
So in this episode of Retired Radio Meanwhile series, 3 Nice Things, Nic, Crystal, and Eric are forced to say 3 nice things about Battlefield Earth.
Oh, and that was not an easy one. I missed this show. We had a good time. I was only only guest starred on a few episodes of this show while it was up and running, but Battlefield Earth was certainly a memorable one at that. You've seen it, I'm sure.
I have.
Ooh.
I saw it. I feel like I think I saw it twice. I think I saw it because I watched the end and I was like, oh, what movie is that? So then I watched it again. I was like, oh man, it was so bad.
Yeah, it was. It was. Weirdly, I kind of enjoy, and when we talk about this in the episode, but I did enjoy the book, which I was not expecting at all.
Okay.
So anyway,
well,
yeah,
you like that though, right? I mean, you like novelizations. So
yeah, but it's not a novelization.
Oh, it's a book
it's
first.
a 1,000-page.
Right.
It's a full 1,000 pages of novel, and the movie is actually only about half of what's in the book. So I think they were planning more, which didn't happen for obvious reasons. All right. All right. Well, let's do it. Here's a vintage episode of 3 Nice Things featuring our next guest, Crystal Storm.
Welcome to 3 Nice Things, the podcast that has decided we've been so mean to these movies, it's time to say 3 nice things. Today, we are talking about the 2000 film, Battlefield Earth. Ugh. I'm Eric Mickles, known online as Dust vs. Tweak, and with me is co-host of the podcast, the All the Books Show, Nick Gunning.
Hi, everybody.
And also with us is sci-fi author and streamer, Crystal Storm.
Hello.
Battlefield Earth.
Oh my gosh.
Is based on the first half of the L. Ron Hubbard novel of the same name. And Battlefield Earth was released in May 2000. And if anybody needs like a point of reference for that, that's 5 days after the movie Gladiator was released in theaters. So
well, great timing.
This was your chaser.
Off to a great start.
Yeah, that was a really bad chaser. I've had chasers.
filmed on a reported budget of $73 million. The movie went on to make $29 million worldwide.
I would believe if you said this movie was filmed for $7,300. I would absolutely believe that. It was just like teenagers in a garage making this movie.
Legit.
Well, there's
what
stuff.
did they spend that money on?
There's
I
stuff
want to
say.
see a breakdown.
Yeah, we'll get into that. Don't worry.
That's all Travolta's corset. Most of that money went to keeping Travolta where he needed to be.
Battlefield Earth currently sits at a critic score of 3% on Rotten Tomato. Yeah. But it fares better with the audience score at 12%.
Yeah, I noticed all the audience scores, though, the usernames were Travolta 1, Travolta 2,
Travolta 5.
3, so I question that.
Jamie Presley? Is it
It's
Presley?
not Jamie Presley.
Who's
It's
his wife?
Kelly Preston.
Kelly
You
Preston.
keep saying
Yeah.
Jamie Presley.
Sorry, Kelly Preston.
Kelly Preston.
Yeah, she's also in there.
She is.
All right.
Sure is.
So this is where we get into our histories with this movie. When we watched it for the first time,
gosh.
it had rewatched it. So, Nick, you're the first person. You're the newest guest. Actually, that's not
I
true.
am.
This is airing before Fantastic Four, which we've actually recorded before this one. So Crystal's been here before.
Well,
But go ahead.
Listen, Crystal, you and I don't know each other, but I feel like after having watched Battlefield Earth, the three of us are now permanently linked.
We are.
This is like we survived some sort of war zone together.
Yes.
And from now on,
We survived a battlefield.
I will never see
Oh, God.
I will never see John Travolta's face without thinking of Eric and Crystal Storm.
There you go.
Here we are together. But you asked me when I first watched this movie. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, when you gave me this list of options, I thought, oh, I mean, I love Travolta, so this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what? There's a huge book that this is based on. Maybe I ought to just read the book for fun.
That's true.
So I did. And if you want to hear about that, you can look at the All the Books Show podcast over on SoundCloud.com/allthebooks, because Eric and I do a deep dive into the very detailed, very intricate, very interesting plot of this novel.
All 1,000 pages. Nick sat down and just
I did.
described it, and I gotta tell you, I was shocked, but not unentertained.
Listen,
I was
I mean,
never bored.
I'm telling you what.
I watched that, by the way. That
the
was,
book
that was
to
an
movie
excellent
comparison
breakdown.
is not good. But anyway, so I read the book, and it's a really interesting book. It's a good book, I'd say. I really think if you're a sci-fi fan, the book is worth reading. I don't think that this movie does it justice at all. So I read the book, and
I don't think this movie does justice to the term movies.
I agree,
But
I agree. Honestly, after I read the book, I was like, okay, yeah, I kind of want to see this
Now
movie.
you're ready.
I kind of want to see this movie, and maybe it'll be like, because I know the context of the book, the movie will make more sense to me. But no. We sat down and watched this movie just recently.
you got grumpy fast.
It was among the worst experiences I've had in my life.
Wow.
I really feel like I don't like to throw around a lot of absolutes, but I think this might be the worst movie I've ever seen. And I sat through Benjamin Button in theaters,
Wow.
and I really think this is.
Solidarity with Nick on it being the worst movie that
Thank
you've
you.
ever seen.
Wow.
Thank you.
I'm kind of feeling that too.
All right, so Crystal, is this the first time you watched Battlefield Earth?
This is the first time. Funny story. When I signed up to join the podcast for this particular movie, I thought it was a different movie.
Yes, she
And then,
described it
yeah.
as the movie where the aliens turn into submarines and Rihanna's
Yeah.
there. And I said,
Yeah.
you thought this was Battleship, which was not. But it is on the future list.
And you know what? I read that book too, so.
That's amazing. Battlefield, Battleship,
Yeah, right.
whatever. So yeah, watched it for the first time Wednesday, and hilariously before Wednesday, because mom likes watching. She's a movie buff like I am, and so I said we got to watch one of these bad movies again. And so she was all for it because I made her watch Fantastic Four with me. Until I told her what the movie was, and then she was like, "Don't do it."
Had your mom seen this?
Yes,
Oh.
she had, and she was like, "Don't watch this movie." I'm like, "I have to. I gotta."
Yeah,
I
her
have to
motherly
watch this
instincts
movie."
kicked in, and she had to protect you. She's like, "Please, Crystal."
So I watched it with my sister, and the both of us were trying to come up. She was trying to assist me with coming up with the three nice things part. So I did enjoy, by the way, your recap, Nick, on all the book show.
Oh, thank you.
The novel. I'm torn because I'm listening to this recap, and I'm like, I understand what you were saying about how you were never bored with the book, but then I'm listening to the recap and I'm like, so this sounds interesting, but it doesn't sound interesting enough for me to read it.
Not 1,000 pages.
It's not.
No. Nick's 30-minute summary is probably the way to go.
Yeah.
When he's talking about the space banking and the basically the Mad Men style of this book, I'm like, well, this is probably better than sitting down and reading this forever. But
I don't read a ton of books like that, so I wasn't expecting to have as good a time as I had. So I'll say that
for listeners, Nick is not a fan of the book Dune, but he liked the book Battlefield Earth.
That's fair.
But you know what? The Dune movie is also on the list.
Yeah, okay.
The 1980 whatever movie.
All right.
I need to be on for that one too. Yeah.
So when I first was aware of this movie when it was probably coming out on DVD. I don't remember ever seeing a movie trailer for it, but we had just gotten like cable in the year 2000, me and my family.
Yeah.
And so we had the TV Guide channel.
Okay.
And they would just constantly show like a 30-second or maybe a minute trailer of this.
I don't know how you would make a trailer for this. There's not a single frame of film.
It
that's
must have
appealing.
been 30 seconds because it was short, and it was basically John Travolta saying, when we came to your planet, it took 9 minutes to destroy your people or whatever. And then you saw Johnny just running through explosions and stuff. I'm like, oh, this doesn't look bad. But I never watched it. I just know they showed this a lot in the year 2000 on the TV Guide channel. And then that was it until I was like, oh, everybody's saying this is the worst movie of all time. And then I just watched it for the first time recently with Nick. Because I put it on the list having never seen it, but knowing its reputation demanded it need to be on this film.
And my only experience with it, like in 2000 when this came out, I would have been in high school, but I don't remember it coming out. I only remember hearing that it was the worst movie ever made.
I don't even remember, like, because we'll get into it, but they couldn't find funding. They couldn't find production companies for the movie. So this wouldn't have even been on, like, you know, when DVDs were coming out and they would show their, like, we've put The Matrix on DVD. Right. It wouldn't even be like in a montage of DVD trailers because nobody had this.
I'm pretty sure. I remember I worked at a public library about this time, and I'm pretty sure this was a double VHS tape situation.
Ooh,
and I just can't imagine. I can't imagine that.
All right. Well, let's get into some facts about this movie. So we like to talk about actors who dodge the bullet with these bad movies. But the only actor who truly dodged the bullet is John Travolta, because he originally wanted to play Johnny, but the lead hero. But by the time the film was made, he felt he was too old for the role. Yeah. So unfortunately, he took another bullet and was cast as Turl, the villain of the movie. So, thoughts before we get into it on John Travolta had he played the lead hero?
Well, I mean, again, having read the book, John Travolta is 100% wrong for both roles. It is wrong for... There's not a role in this that I would read and think like, you know who'd be good at this? John Travolta.
Yeah.
And he was awful, as was Forrest Whitaker.
Crystal?
I have to say.
Was there anybody, to be fair, is there anybody suited for this role? Like, I don't
yeah.
You know, as written in the movie, I think no.
Yeah, Johnny's a thankless role, I think. Just a lot of grunting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. So John Travolta as
the long-haired.
You know what? He could have played that. I think, as ridiculous as he was as the villain, and I guess the script didn't help him out any, because I'll get into that later. I mean, you know what? Sure. I think he could have pulled that one off too.
All right, there you go.
I mean, here's the thing I'll say about Travolta. You cannot convince him of just like phoning it in. He is there, and he's turned all the way up to 140. He is in every scene. He's like, he's just like crazy.
He's nuts,
and not holding back.
So this movie happened because it was a passion project for Travolta.
Okay,
and it always had been. He met L. Ron Hubbard, and L. Ron Hubbard gave him a signed copy of Battlefield Earth, the book, and this was his like passion project. He even said this was his use of his power, the real use of his power. He felt like if he couldn't use his professional power to make this movie, then what good was he? Wow. So basically, after he revitalized his career in 1994 with Pulp Fiction, he began to campaign to get this movie made, and he asked Quentin Tarantino to direct, but Tarantino declined, and then I imagine faded into shadow.
Yeah, it was like, never discuss my name with this movie.
It was like, back away slowly.
Yeah. Travolta had described this film as Star Wars, but better, and prepare yourself for this. He described it as the Schindler's List of science fiction films.
Boy.
Wow.
He described it that way to people.
It's more like the Caddyshack 2 of science fiction films.
Yeah.
Awful.
So as stated, I had told you guys that the budget had been reported to be $73 million. Yeah. However, an FBI investigation into the production company responsible for the film, known as Franchise Pictures, the FBI had found that they had lied about the budget to scam investors, and the production of the film was actually $44 million. Wow. So due to the lawsuits from the investors, Franchise Pictures would go bankrupt.
Wow.
So the movie made about $30 million and still couldn't get back its $44 million. After its release, Travolta would continue to defend the movie, saying if he had a chance, he would make the movie again.
Okay.
Proving to be the true villain of this film.
Again, like, here's all I will say.
No.
Here's all I will
Okay.
say. Turl and Johnny in the book have a very, very intense, interesting relationship where they're constantly doing this like game of chess with each other. It's a unique relationship, and I feel like that could be adapted in a really good way. So if Travolta really was a huge fan of the book and was looking at that, I get why he wanted to do it, but I don't get why he would defend it as is.
Well, reportedly Tom Cruise hated the movie and had warned against it. There's reports saying he warned Warner Brothers to pass and not do this, and was not happy with it. And but there's no records of that. However, there have been multiple reports after that saying no, that Tom Cruise did that. George Lucas and Quentin Tarantino thought it was a decent science fiction film, but there's no record of them saying that. Just other people saying that's what they said. So Travolta and other people, PR, would say, yeah, Lucas and Tarantino thought it was a decent science fiction film, but there's no, like, Tarantino says.
Right.
So
listen, I believe that George Lucas of the year 2000 might have enjoyed this film. That's prequel era George Lucas. The man can't be trusted.
That's true. That would have been a year after Phantom Menace.
Oh.
Yeah.
So there was a sequel planned, which was supposed to cover the rest of the book because this movie only was about half or 400 pages of it. However, after the critical and financial failure of the movie, all plans were scrapped.
Shocker.
I cannot believe this. Like, look, reading the book and watching this movie, I don't see how you could ever adapt the second half of the book.
I don't know,
like,
man.
They strip away all the nuance of it, and by making it so there's like 40 human characters instead of just Johnny, like you lose all the intricacy of what's happening in it. So, like, for me, everybody in this movie, Johnny included, comes across as a stupid idiot. Like, it's like this person's stupid, and this person's stupid. They're stupid with each other. So how then you go to like trying to get a mortgage, a space mortgage to buy back Earth with these stupid characters? No way.
So let's spoil the film quickly.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Nick, why don't you've read the book?
Okay.
So why don't we also make you spoil the film?
Summarize the film.
Basically, yes, for people who haven't seen the movie before we get
Okay.
into it.
All right.
Wow.
Okay.
Go, Nick. You got
Sure.
this.
All right. Just got to stop my nose from bleeding for a second here. No. I can do it. So Earth is pretty much desolate at this point. All right. You're going around and you're seeing that the Earth is. You see mountains. You don't see cities. We see a very primitive village where they're all
Living in caves.
Yeah, living in caves and being like, "This is it. There's nothing else. You're just staying right here." Our hero. First of all, why is everybody's hair wet? We don't have to get into that.
Yes,
but why
everybody's hair is
why
wet during
are
the
Johnny?
movie.
And first of all, in the book, his name is Johnny Goodboy Tyler. And
Nobody
I don't
calls
think
him
we
Good
ever
Boy.
heard Good Boy.
Actually, I
in
read
this
somewhere
movie.
we don't find out his name is Johnny till like a half hour into the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
Or maybe more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, Johnny and Chrissy were the main. Anyway, so we see Johnny and Chrissy. Johnny's burying his father, and basically he decides to go out into the world. So far, we're pretty similar to the book. Okay. Then you have you have Turl and you have Kerr and you have the other Cyclos, basically strip mining, which again similar to the book. Johnny goes off, finds himself in a shopping mall, meets some other people who are like scavengers. They all get captured by Turl.
well, one gives him a piece of glass.
Yes.
That will last as a dagger.
Yeah.
For the whole movie.
The whole movie.
That glass will never break.
I gotta say too, props to the glass in that mall, which stood unbroken for 1,000 years.
Yes.
Until Johnny stumbled into it. But anyway, you've got
Yes,
Johnny.
Did we mention this is in the year 3000?
The year 3000. Yep. So you've got Johnny and some stragglers in a mall. They're scavenging things. Turl and the other Cyclos come along, pick them up, take them back to base, and are basically. I don't really know what the plan is with the humans because it doesn't start
The
out.
Cyclos think that the humans are as brain dead as can be.
Right.
They're basically cattle. But
Okay, so let me. I just want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Was it ever explained why they were taking the humans? Like before we get into the whole
No,
mining
because-
thing, which I'll talk about in my review.
Yeah.
But,
because
like,
Travolta,
okay, just wanted to make
Travolta's
sure.
character says humans can't use weapons, humans can't use machines, humans are stupid, and yet they're still collecting them.
Yeah,
but we
that's-
never see them doing anything.
Yeah. See, again in the book, Turl as an individual steals Johnny to help him because Turl needs Johnny to use like human equipment.
Right.
So, like, that makes sense. Them just, like, hurting
Yeah.
thousands of people that
Not
they have
doing
no
anything.
plan for.
Yeah.
Doesn't make any sense. So you have all the people locked up. Turl thinks he's getting off the planet.
Nope.
No?
No, he's not.
He's not getting off the planet. No, he
planet.
thinks he is, but he's not. And they're like, guess what? You're going to stay here forever. So now he's an awful actor and disgruntled. And he basically comes up with a plan that's like, hey, we need gold because apparently gold is valuable in space.
Gold is valuable in space, yes.
So they need their space gold. And so Turl gets the idea of, like, let's train the humans to mine. Mm-hmm. So he traps Johnny's girlfriend, Chrissy, whose name I don't know if we hear in the movie.
I can't remember.
Chrissy's trapped, and basically Johnny's sort of being held hostage. And he's got to take these guys out.
But Turl, John Travolta, is teaching Johnny things in a learning machine.
Yes, he's teaching
so
him
that he can use machines and help him train.
Because the Cyclos cannot breathe on Earth.
Right.
And so they can't really do these things. They need the humans to do it.
Yes.
Right. So
Johnny's the only one now who can speak Cyclos.
Johnny can communicate both with human and with the Cyclos character. So he's a really crucial
He's like Detective Pikachu.
Yes. So. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Way less funny. But other than that, he's like Detective Pikachu. So then, basically, Johnny's been going around looking in libraries and things, finds Fort Knox.
Yep.
Takes his crew to Fort Knox, gets the gold bars, and then is stockpiling the rest of the gold.
It should be said, Travolta says, we're going to be watching you this whole time, and yet somehow the humans are able to sneak off from the valley they're supposed to be mining to. They take a ship.
Drone only flies over at a certain time.
I guess that's it.
Yeah. I saw it.
You see a drone once, and it's like, well, what's the point of...
Yeah.
Anyway, so Johnny's stockpiling gold, which again, I don't think is really explained why they want the gold, why they care about gold, but they do.
Leverage.
Yeah. Turl comes back
If you start drinking... When they say the words leverage, man animal, or rat tail, you will die by the end of this movie.
You will. He only calls him Johnny an animal in the book. He never says man animal.
They say man... I looked it up 28 times. They say man animal. It felt like 1,000.
Leverage is a big thing, but it works a little bit more in the book because it's just like Turl's thing. He's not...
They're probably not idiots using leverage in the book.
You're right. Yeah. That's the thing. That's what I really like about... Like book Turl versus movie Turl. Movie Turl is a big dumb idiot jerk.
Yes.
Book Turl is a clever big jerk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, so Turl comes back and he's like, "Give me my gold." And he's like, "Wait, why the heck is it in bricks?" And Johnny's like, "I smelted it because you're cool." And Travolta's like, "That checks out." And then they continue on, and the humans kind of are amassing a little bit of force, and they pretty much take it to the Cyclos. And their goal is to destroy the dome that the Cyclos are in, because then they won't be able to breathe.
They find airplanes that have lasted 1,000 years with fuel that has lasted 1,000 years, and then they use those airplanes. Yeah, in the book you told me that it's supposed to be airtight. Yeah, but I still don't think whatever the jets use for fuel, I don't think that lasts.
They find like a bomb shelter which is designed to last, so it makes a little bit more sense, not a ton of sense. So anyway, that's their plan. They're going to go and destroy the dome. Also, they're going to teleport a nuke to Cyclos,
the planet,
which does happen,
and they blow it up.
The entire planet.
Whatever nuke they use is strong enough to blow up the whole surface of the planet, and then cause the planet to explode into space.
You're left with dust, just dust.
That's how strong the bomb is they teleported.
And then basically the humans kind of take that back.
Yep.
Most of the Cyclos are done. Turl is kept alive and imprisoned, and then
for the sequel that never happens.
The humans are going to go and kind of retake the Earth.
Movie's not done because the end credits have the grossest green font for the entire end credits.
It was made with like Nickelodeon
Why
slime.
did you watch that?
Well, I wanted to see. I'm like, do they use this green the whole time? And they do. Yeah. It is the worst color font I've ever seen. The movie's also shot entirely in Dutch angles.
Yeah, what the heck? It was like we were watching the Adam West Batman show.
I read they did that because they wanted it to feel like a comic book. But if comic books looked like Battlefield Earth the movie, I would not read comic books.
They wanted it to look like a comic book. It looked like a 2-hour dingy fever dream.
It was, so Nick hated it. I hated it. I thought this actually made me hate Travolta's acting so much. I retroactively feel like maybe he's been bad in everything. It had the power to make me hate him in Pulp Fiction and Get Shorty. I'm like, maybe he's never been good because it is some of the worst acting I've ever seen out of anybody.
I think that he had one second of good acting. I think there was one.
All right.
When he notices Kerr Kerr is like his little henchman partner. If you haven't seen
Forrest
the movie.
Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. He notices in an aerial shot that there's gold, and he doesn't want Kerr to see it, and so he like notices in a shrewd way and kind of redirects the conversation. And I thought in those like 3 seconds, he actually did a little bit of acting, but the rest of the time he was like in a local commercial. It was terrible.
It's also shot in the writer, the original writer who tried to write the script and got fired from it, has also stated this complaint that there is so much slow motion in this movie. Like
unnecessary slow motion.
Yes, every cut, every character turning around is in slow motion that I have to believe it would be a 40-minute movie if they filmed it in real time.
Definitely a 1 VHS tape movie.
And I don't know if you noticed this, Crystal, but I yelled this. I just like yelled it out loud to Nick that every shot or every set has one color.
Yeah.
And then when you're in another set, so when you're outside, yellow.
Yeah.
In the ship, blue.
Yeah.
In the sewers, red.
Yeah.
And it's maddening.
It is.
But apparently the cinematographer of this had talked about mainly because the budget, as I said, was lower than they said it was, and Travolta's his salary took a lot of the budget.
I bet it did.
And he said that he had worked on indie films with $1 million budget that had more money for lighting than Battlefield Earth did.
Wow.
And I guess that's just it. He was just trying to do the best he could.
Well, let's talk about this for a minute, because to me this was among the worst parts of this movie. Crystal, what did you think of just the overall look of this thing?
Oh.
You know what? I had many problems with this movie. And you know what? When somebody told me that it was made in 2000, I didn't believe it. Yeah. I thought this movie was made back in like 1980, 1990, something like that. Yeah. I did not think that this movie was made in 2000.
Mission Impossible 2 was 2000. Right. Gladiator was 2000.
Right, it was 2000. So
the first X-Men movie was in 2000.
If this movie had been made in the late 80s, at one point Johnny would have found like a shining red convertible somewhere and driven it around. Then it would have been an 80s movie. I felt like there was not a single shot. And again, I mean, I know it's an absolute, but I really, for the life of me, couldn't tell you an image that was pleasant to look at. All of their costumes, all of their facial expressions.
Their wet hair. Like the inside of the ship, the weird CGI in places, even like the skyline, the mountains, everything in this looked like it's ugly
garbage.
Yeah. Continue, Crystal.
Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, no, you know, thought there were... Hearing Nick describe the book and the first half, there were a lot of interesting threads. And I don't know if anybody's familiar here with the work of Zecharia Sitchin and like the Anunnaki and all that. So the idea of like aliens coming down here and like grabbing humans and making them mine for gold, that's like really familiar for people who are like in UFO circles and conspiracy theories. Like we've heard that before.
Right.
So all that kind of stuff is like super interesting.
Right.
So the fact that I don't know who wrote this script, and I don't know why they had such a big budget that they couldn't give you like, I don't know, just a good movie. Just like not even like maybe like a C movie. This was like an F+ movie. Like I can't. I felt like John Travolta was trying his hardest to bring some kind of personality, something to the character, but then would be confused about the character. So I blame that I feel like that he's reading the script and like on this page the character's supposed to be this, and then on page 10 the character's supposed to be, and that's what we saw. So I don't necessarily blame him for the acting. So there's just no saving this.
You know what?
No saving it.
He does a voice through the whole movie, like his enunciation. It's like he's doing the Duke from Moulin Rouge with the way he says every line. He's like, "Oh, you're trying to get leverage on me, John Travolta."
Yeah,
and it's like, who told Travolta he could talk like that?
I feel like if he truly is like a fan of the book, I feel like he's having this war between what the character's supposed to be and how it is as well.
He's not just a fan of the book. He's a fan of the movie.
Yeah.
So
I know he is.
I feel like that's just an actor trying to be like a good professional and support the movie you're in. I feel like that's what that is.
He staked so much on it. Like it seems like
he wanted to make L. Ron Hubbard proud, and he I L. Ron Hubbard, I don't think was alive for this.
Yeah,
so.
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
You needed a better script. You needed. I mean, because
he needed a better.
I feel like
it's not just the script.
You had the acting chops for this. Like, I mean, you've got John Travolta, you've got Forrest Whitaker. I even feel like the actor who played Johnny is familiar for some reason.
Barry
Like,
Pepper.
Yeah, Barry Pepper is in things.
Yeah.
He most recently was
things.
in the a couple of Kennedy miniseries where he played Bobby Kennedy, and actually he does a really good job. So he can act.
Yeah. So there wasn't. I mean, the actors in this weren't terrible. It was literally just like watching a train wreck for me. I feel like you maybe could have done. Like, this was never going to be like an A+ movie, but I feel like it didn't have to be as bad as it was.
Well, again, like,
but there was. I mean, but like you guys said, like the cinematography, like some of the. I mean, some of the costumes, the shots.
Every brick in this wall was bad. So you there's no like, maybe if we had painted the wall a different color, it's like, no. Yeah. Every part of this wall is just, it's
just bad.
It's terrible.
The garbage bricks.
Yeah,
the garbage bricks. And the thing
bricks.
that's so funny is we keep talking about the budget and how like cheap everything looks. Again, if you actually adapt the book, 90% of the first half is Turl and Johnny in like an industrial area, occasionally in like caves. Yeah. So like they could have done that. It's like they wanted to make a big Star Wars-y space movie.
Well, this is Star Wars, but better.
I know that. It's like that's what they wanted. They wanted like the big spectacle, but it doesn't fit with the source material, so they tried to like cram it all in, and what you have is this weird amalgamation that is just unpleasant to watch.
Yeah.
When they had the feeding tube was squirting out that like gross food paste, and they like smashed it in each other's faces, and we're eating this like horrible like worm poop out of each other's hands. I just I'm like, I can't look at this. I cannot look at this gross movie anymore. I started diligently taking notes and I had to give up.
Yeah.
My favorite part was the third act because it was at that point that I completely did not understand what was going on in the movie.
Yep.
I was trying so hard to pay attention.
It was so incomprehensible.
It seemed like, and I had no idea what was going on. I'm like, all right, I got the plan. He's gonna blow that up. They're going to blow up the planet. I got the plan. Then the plan started, and I'm like, I have no idea what anybody is doing.
Their revolt to take back the planet just seemed like yelling in the streets and breaking whatever glass they found. And then that was it. And then, like, the other cyclos are like, whatever.
Yeah.
So this movie could get a lot of hate, but that's not what we're going to do in this podcast. So it's time for us to say our 3 nice things. Nick, you're the book fan, so why don't you start us off with your first nice thing?
You want me to say a nice thing?
You have to say your first of 3
You have
nice
to say
things.
3, Nick.
This is, if I could just share with the two of you as brothers in arms, this is the mistake I made. You keep saying, like, I think it's going to be fun to watch these movies, and then I realize, no, they're garbage.
Right.
I really thought, this will be a fun time. We'll have a good time watching it together. We'll be able to laugh at this crappy movie. There is nothing enjoyable about this movie.
I was afraid to pause it, and in doing so, finding out there was still an hour left. I did not want to pause and see the timestamp.
Having a running clock on this would have unhinged me in ways that I can't even describe.
Yes.
I would never have come back from it. So
that doesn't seem like a very nice thing.
I'm sorry. Let me. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna focus on. There's one scene. There's one scene that I thought, okay, the two of them are enjoying themselves.
Two of who?
They're having a good time. There's a scene between Turl, so Travolta, and Forrest Whitaker's Kerr, and it's all about them trying to figure out. Or Travolta's trying to figure out where the tape with the damning, incriminating evidence is.
Oh, right.
Do you remember this scene?
Oh, yes.
And Kerr's kind of like, where could it be? And Travolta's like, oh, I wonder what you did with that. And they kind of like bounce back and forth in this thing that to me felt like an outtake because like they're enjoying this.
Yes.
They're playing off each other.
Yeah.
They're responding to each other in a way that does not happen in any...
Yeah, Forrest Whitaker basically has his finger to his lips going, not there!
I know. And honestly, every scene outside of that, if you told me that all of these actors were just filmed in front of green screens, never actually saw each other or interacted, and just gave cold line readings, I would believe it. But the one scene where Kerr has hidden this damning tape, and Travolta's trying to like figure out where it is, and they have this little playful banter for maybe like 10 seconds. I thought, well, that's kind of fun.
Okay, all right,
that's it.
Well, yeah, and
this is how slim the pickings are
for listeners who. There's a big thing in Cyclos culture about having leverage on somebody. Right. If you have leverage, you are
it's currency.
Your goal.
It's the currency.
It's
it
currency.
Really is.
So
that
Travolta
does not translate well into the movie. By the way,
no. So basically, to get leverage is a big deal.
Yeah.
And yes, Forrest Whitaker throughout the movie is trying to figure out how he can get leverage. And
Yeah.
he's kind of like, is this leverage? Whoa!
Yeah, Turl keeps besting him, and Kerr's just like trying to do his best.
Yeah. So,
which again, in the book, Turl becomes a really a crucial component because he and Johnny kind of form this alliance that really works.
Yeah.
There's so much at play, but in the movie, it does not translate in the slightest. So that's my first nice thing.
all right, Crystal, what's your first nice thing
Hit me.
about Battlefield Earth, the movie?
The movie, that scene where the dude got his head explode, awesome. The head explosion scene was epic.
With the collar?
Oh, with the collar.
Yes, the collar scene. I enjoyed
That's
that.
a little ghoulish.
I know. I was like...
Is that not the same scene with the cows? Or
Yeah,
is
that is the
same
cows.
scene with
We
the
didn't even talk about
cows.
that.
Yep.
When he starts shooting
Yep.
legs off cows. What?
Yeah.
Yeah, when they meet the Scots,
Yeah.
which also okay, so and now I'm laughing even harder about this movie. I remember, Nick, when you were giving the review of the book, you were talking about how Johnny goes on this quest or whatever, and then eventually he meets like the Scots.
Yeah.
And then I'm watching this movie, and then all of a sudden I'm assuming these are the Scots. They show up.
Yep.
But then 3 scenes later, we're in Fort Knox.
Yeah.
Where the heck is this movie taking
Oh, you know what? You know what? That is a major problem in the book. That's the thing. It's like geography makes no sense. They're like, hey, we'll just pop over to England for a second. We're in Colorado. It's just like, okay. Maybe their ships are just super amazing, but...
So, Crystal's describing a scene then where Turl, yes, he proves what a good shot he is by shooting cows, and there is just a cow, and we see its front left leg just go flying off the hinges into the distance.
Cauterize that.
That was great. No, but I'm talking about the scene where he puts the collar
and then
on
he puts the collar on the guy and then blows him up.
Yeah, one of the Scots. Yeah, so they don't say it in the movie, but that's Robert the Fox who shows up.
Yeah.
And again, he and Johnny have this really great alliance. And they go to Scotland because Turl has scanned and found that there's a Scottish settlement. So it's not accidental like it is in the movie. But, and so Turl takes the collar that he's going to use as leverage against Johnny and tests it on it. Is it Robert the Fox's son? It's somebody.
I don't remember. Everybody freaks out.
It's like a teenager.
I didn't connect to anybody. I don't know anybody's names.
He blows the kid's head off. And it's like, there you go. That's what happens.
What's funny about that scene too, Crystal, is that it's another... John Travolta does this multiple times in the movie where he makes a promise, but then he's just so darn literal about it. So he's like, I won't blow up your friend's head. And then he gives the detonator to somebody who's like, he will! And it's just like, my gosh.
Look, I am a fan of Travolta. I was ready to give him the benefit of the doubt for this, but he does not earn that.
No.
Kelly Preston almost had me in the scene where she comes and is like seducing Turl. But then she just starts like
a giant tongue comes out and licks like everything,
licking his legs. I mean, it was horrific.
My first nice thing is, I don't know why, but I like the whole bit of Travolta and Forrest Whitaker trying to find out humans' favorite food man animals' favorite food.
Man animals,
by saying whatever they eat, that will be their favorite food.
Yeah.
But because the people are starving and they see rats, they just lunge for the rats and eat them. And so Travolta's like, man animal's favorite food is rats.
Yeah.
And because why would he eat those if he has everything else?
Right.
It's like, it's just so funny. But you know what it makes me think of? The movie does a terrible job at this.
Yeah.
But it is kind of the idea of a super advanced alien species coming to Earth and and just looking at us as like dumb animals, and having no idea what to do with us, and like we would just be so primitive to them and just be like rats ourselves. So the idea that they just have to like, they're eating rats, they must like rats. Like on a science fiction level, that's a fun premise of the whole advanced civilization looking down on us. Man's favorite food is rats.
But why do you jump right to favorite food?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? And he takes the extra step of like, and he must really love it raw.
He's not cooking it.
It just seems like,
Well, we're man animals.
That is from the book, but of course it plays out better.
Yeah. They take a science fiction element that I don't think we see a lot when aliens invade, because usually it's just them blowing us up and everything. So the whole idea of like, does man animal like to go for walks?
Anytime anyone was eating in this movie, I was repulsed.
Yes.
When they're eating around the campfire, it's disgusting. When they're eating the slime, it's disgusting. When they're eating the rats, it's...
All right, Nick. Second nice thing. I'm sorry.
I don't want to do this.
You have to.
Fine. All right.
Say another nice thing about Battlefield Earth, the movie.
You owe me at least a ride to the airport after this. Boy, oh boy.
I'll help you move on my Saturday.
Here's the thing. Well, I'm a librarian, and I enjoyed the prominent use of libraries in the thing. Libraries were shown to be important.
Yeah.
He was finding all the information. It's really...
The movie tried to be as majestic as it could with its view of the library.
It did. And really, I mean, the library is is what turned the tide. It saved the human race in this movie. Yeah. Johnny's able to use the books. He's able to look at maps. He's able to figure out what Fort Knox is. And he's able to use that against Kerr and Turl because all of that was in the library. So I thought that was a positive message. Yeah. That was a positive takeaway and one that applies to...
You should go to your local library. They offer all their services for free.
That's right.
And all you have to do is get a library card. You can just go in, check out books. Yeah. They have programs that are free for you. There's story times for your children. They still have a DVD collection if you can't stream movies with
Some have podcasts.
Yep, we have the free internet access. The libraries are great, so don't wait until the year 3000 for Cyclos to destroy everything to appreciate your library. Don't appreciate them now.
When it comes to libraries, don't be a Turl. Be a Johnny Goodboy Tyler.
Yep. That's the name of the main character. We should remind you in case because the movie didn't. Yeah.
So that's my second one.
All right, Crystal, you have to say second nice thing too.
Okay. I don't know. So I don't know if this is count as a nice thing about the movie, but I'm gonna try.
You know, we're gonna take whatever you say because this is
I should throw this movie. We've recorded a few of these. This movie was the hardest. I had to, this is the most I've ever had to reach for nice things. With the other ones, I usually have like one or two by the time the movie's over, and then I'm thinking about the third one. This one, as soon as the movie was over, I'm just like, I got nothing. Yeah. And so this movie really had made me stretch my muscles for this. So go ahead, Crystal. Yeah. This will count.
I liked the plot point about how humans got smarter by taking the knowledge from the aliens. Because I'm kind of big on that sort of like mythology and like hidden history. And,
almost uplifting.
Right. This whole idea that humans, because they always refer to these aliens throughout the movie as like the gods, the primitive humans.
Gods, monsters,
gods. Right. So I'm linking that back to, us not being like the gods, and then we take the knowledge from the gods. So that was a really interesting plot point, even though it was done the way it was done.
That is a lot of pathos you're imposing onto a movie that didn't have any of itself. So...
But I enjoyed that.
Yes.
It reminded me of other cool things.
Yeah, there's interesting science fiction concepts in here. Like David Brin's Uplift trilogy is really good of the idea that or all species in that universe uplift other species to make them smarter. And the movie tries that, and like I said, it tries the whole advanced civilization. It's just maybe in any other movie.
Maybe.
Yeah. So Johnny does use his knowledge.
I know that we've tried to give the actors a bit of a pass because the material was such a dung heap, but I sort of think with more interesting people in these roles,
there's just no scenery chewing. I think Travolta thinks he's chewing the scenery. There are bad movies that can be entertaining because you have a great actor in there who just knows where he is. Yeah. And I always think of Raul Julia as M. Bison in Street Fighter because that's a pretty bad movie. But Raul Julia just devours the screen and says all his lines like he's working for the Shakespeare Company. Yeah, and it's Travolta's trying to do that with that upper crust voice. Yeah, but it's just him falling on his face.
Well, he's such an unlikable character, and even in the book, you have to have a reason to care. You have to be a little invested in what Turl wants, even if you don't want him to get it. You have to care about that. Yeah. And I think somebody who got that and was a little bit more in the zone could have pushed even this version of Turl so far over the top that you'd see him and kind of chuckle.
The difference is bad acting versus hammy acting. Yeah. And Travolta's trying to be hammy, but it's bad. Yeah. So we need somebody who can do hammy acting well. Yeah. And nobody could do this. I mean, this is almost I don't know who. I can't cast this and make it better.
No, I can't either. So, but Travolta acted like somebody's dad in a community theater.
I would have rathered someone jumped into this role and really just, because Travolta felt like he was trying to make him almost humorous at times. Yeah. And I guess I would have rathered him just said, okay, this guy is a bad dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
It makes you question.
And just played that the entire time.
It makes you question how Travolta is a movie star.
Look, Travolta's good in many things, but actually, I think, Crystal, I think you just nailed it. I think that really is the problem. Because in order to sell that, you have to play it completely straight. Like, Travolta has to play it as if he is playing the most serious, like the most devious, like real, true villain. And he played it like a cartoon.
Yeah.
He did.
Yeah.
He did. It almost felt a little like his character in Face Off a little bit.
Yes.
But even that was like 1,000 times better, right?
Yeah.
So it's almost like when he plays a villain, he's one dimensional. Like he's got one type of villain.
It takes a lot for a movie to make you wish that Nicolas Cage was in here doing his thing.
Oh my gosh. Nicolas Cage is
Nicolas
Turl.
Cage.
All right, you just cast it and made it better.
Nicolas Cage
Good
is
for you.
Turl, yeah.
Nicolas Cage is Turl, absolutely.
Here's my second nice thing. And we've been saying how bad everybody is in this movie.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying the actor is good in this movie.
Oh, here it comes.
But for some reason, out of everybody, I was most endeared to Forrest Whitaker.
Oh my gosh.
And I think it's because, and maybe this isn't a good thing, but his character was so dumb and so clueless that he was kind of endearing the way he was trying to one-up Travolta with his leverage, and the way he would just, and every time it didn't work, he'd be like, oh no! And there was just something so dumpy and dumb about the character that it was just, it made me laugh, and that was the only part where I felt like I was getting genuine comedy. It was like, I mean, he gets his hand shut off at one point. He just looks at it and goes, oh, I hate Mondays. Yeah. And it's just, there's just something about his like workaday stiff that is trying to become senior staff. And it's just, that's it. That's the nice thing I can say about it.
I know this is your house, but get the hell out. You're done. Please leave.
No, obviously this character was dumb, and the acting was dumb, and the movie is dumb, and I hate it. There is something always endearing about the blue-collar guy who's like, hey, boss! And the boss is like, no, sorry, get back to cleaning the toilets.
Going back to the look of this movie, though, if you told me that they based Kerr's appearance on the Cowardly Lion after he gets glammed up in The Wizard of Oz, I would believe you.
Yeah.
Everybody in here, I mean, they look like they...
All the Cyclos have dreads, and all the humans have wet rat hair.
And they're so bad. Like, all the Cyclos are so bad. They look like it was... All the principals in this movie look like you would expect, like, a merchant... Like a merchant vendor in, like, Attack of the Clones in the background. Yeah. That's the level of...
Because they're supposed to be, like, 8 feet tall, 9 feet tall.
So you liked Kerr.
No, I'm not saying I liked Kerr.
You liked him, you thought he was good.
There's something endearing about that. Okay. Again, so it's a concept thing.
So you approve of Forrest Whitaker's choices in playing the role and how he played it. Crystal, are you hearing this? Are you hearing what I'm hearing?
I'm hearing it. I mean...
All right.
You do what you got to do with this movie, okay?
Yes. Again, digging deep. Nick, last nice thing. Last nice thing.
All right, well... I don't feel like they really took advantage of this as much as I wanted them to, but I liked the look whenever we got like a pull-out shot of the like crumbling city ruins. Mm-hmm. I liked that. I liked
the establishing shot.
Yeah,
was the best shot.
Yes,
they had.
You had
maybe in the movie
when Johnny first kind of discovers that he's in a city, not the 1,000-year-old golf course that's still
the mini golf course. Yeah,
but when he sees the city for the first time, and then later when we see, I don't know if it was a White House or the Capitol building. It wasn't
Capitol.
that Capitol. Okay, I thought that was
the Library of Congress.
Library of Congress. You're right. I thought that shot of DC was pretty cool. They did a nice job with that. But it was never really developed more than like so basically it was like a matte painting that I was like, oh, that's a cool concept. So that
it does look bad though.
Yeah, it does look bad. But I love that concept. Like I love stumbling onto like Earth ruins. You know, I like that. Something I really liked about the book. Yeah. So it was cool to see that, but it didn't. No. It didn't really.
All right.
Didn't really do it. But that's my nice thing.
That's your third nice thing.
That's my. I'm done.
You're done.
Oh,
now you just have to listen to Crystal and
I'm walking out this door.
Yeah.
All right, Crystal, bring it home.
Okay, so I will say that I, air quotes, liked Johnny's character. So I liked that he was very strong-willed. I liked that slave prison scene, whatever, where he's got to fight the head dude, and he didn't lose, he didn't back down. I like that he won that. I like
food
that
slot.
That's the food.
Right,
the food
that's
scene.
the
Yeah,
food
we all
thing.
eat at the same time.
Nick was covering his eyes.
Yeah,
I was
crying. That he. I like that once he got the knowledge, like he wasn't just this dude that was, because when you meet him, he's very like gung-ho, he does what he wants, very stubborn, headstrong, he's always ready to fight type situation. So I like that when he finally got the knowledge of the aliens, he was smart enough to realize, okay, I'm going to need this information, not just my brawn to win this battle.
Right.
So I liked that about his character.
Okay. I can relate to that because again, in the book, that's what's so
nerd alert.
I know. Me saying in the book, I've said in the book as much as they said man animals.
Well,
in this
I
movie.
assume
if
it's
I hear
you.
the word leverage one more time.
Yeah, exactly.
I assume you saying in the book is your way of just like bringing yourself back to sanity.
It's how I
like,
keep one.
No, it's this way. It's in the book. It's in the book.
I keep one foot in reality, but no, Crystal, you're absolutely right about Johnny's character, and it's especially true in the book. He takes full advantage of these situations, and there's a lot of his struggle in the book is deciding whether or not he's going to escape because he can on many times, but staying because he realizes that he needs the knowledge to save the planet more than he needs to escape and get back to his dying village, which makes for just a really intriguing dynamic and a thread that ran throughout the book. I don't know, you might like it. I know it's long, but you might enjoy it because a lot of the things.
I feel like out of everybody in this very bad movie, at least that actor had a very good grasp of his character, and I thought
the
he
actor
did a good job.
He's pretty down to earth. This movie won every single Razzie Award it was nominated for, the awards for the worst movies of the year, and Barry Pepper said, had he known he was going to win, he would have attended. And
That's awesome.
Unfortunately, John Travolta did not attend, so they used a Toro action figure to accept the award.
Wait, there are Toro action figures?
That was literally my next question.
Stop everything.
This might depress you guys,
Yeah.
but the movie did make about $100 million in total due to DVD sales and all that other stuff.
Wow.
So it somehow made some money.
Crystal, tell me if you think this is true, but I think it's only fair that Eric purchase a Turtle action figure both for you and me as payment. Hear me out.
You want Toro's face on your desk every day,
like,
reminding you of this hell.
Nick, I really want to be in solidarity with you on this, but I really don't want one.
Okay, well, we'll get you a Johnny Goodboy tie. She wants it. She'll take a
She
Johnny
wants the
Goodboy
Johnny.
tie.
You'll
I
take
don't
the
want that one
Toro.
either. Like
I will take a Turtle.
Yeah.
And
I
Eric
will
can
take
have
a
Kerr.
Fantastic Four action figure, and I want them all.
Well, the Johnny,
I
I'm
want.
sure the Johnny action figure comes with pre-wet hair.
He does,
and it constantly stays wet and smells wet.
Yeah, and with barking as well. He's like, "Ruff, ruff, ruff."
Why? No, serious question, guys. So the aliens, terrible teeth. Why did all the cave people have great teeth? Explain this to me.
Oh, interesting. Interesting.
Noticed it immediately.
All right, here's my last nice thing. All right, guys, this is the one I had to stretch. By the end of the day, by today, I had two nice things, and then I had like 2 hours before this. I'm like, I've got nothing. And then I just kept coming back to this one scene, and I'll explain to you why this scene sticks with me as being like the nice thing. There's the scene where Forrest Whitaker is like, because the ships are showing up and Johnny Goodboy is going to jump off a cliff and risk his life because he'd rather die free than work with the cyclists anymore. Yeah. And Forrest Whitaker character is like, why was he going to jump off the cliff? Man animal must be able to fly. And John Travolta's like, man animal can't fly. And here's what I like about this scene. You could show this in a high school class as a proper use of the scientific method. Because the two characters
It's a
do
teachable
this.
moment. It's
Okay.
a teachable moment.
Step 1, ask a question. Can man animal fly? Step 2, background research. I've never seen them fly. Step 3, construct a hypothesis. Just because you've never seen them fly doesn't mean they can't. Step 4, test the hypothesis by doing an experiment. Drop man animal down a cliff. Step 5, analyze the data and draw a conclusion. Man animal is dead.
Wow.
They can't fly.
Wow.
Step 6, share your results.
This movie is so confused because that was actually, you know what? That was a decently, that was, out of all the terrible scenes, that one was not bad. And that one actually made me like a little stressed out for the poor guy who's about to get thrown off a cliff. I'm like, oh my God.
It's stressful.
You see, yeah. And then the other scene that I thought was decent was that scene where he's messing with, like Nick said earlier, where he's messing with Forrest Whitaker.
Yeah.
And then he pulls a head
He's
out
like,
of the
or is it in here?
Yeah.
Right, and it gets like really dark, really fast.
Yes. Yeah.
You know what? The him jumping or getting ready to throw somebody off the cliff scene is kind of reminiscent to the very first scene with Johnny and Turl, where Turl's intrigued that Johnny can shoot the gun. And he tells the guy, like, try to take the gun from him. They have that whole thing.
Yeah.
I thought that was kind of an interesting
Turl's
bit,
a
too.
scientist in these movies. He wants to learn.
Yeah, he's the Bill Nye of this.
I guess me talking about that whole like scene with them doing the scientific it goes back to the first point of like you can have fun with the idea of like an advanced alien race just treating us the same way we do guinea pigs.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
And I mean, I'm not saying we should throw guinea pigs off a cliff to see if they can fly.
You did say that, and it's on tape, so
but,
we heard it.
I mean, just the idea of an advanced civilization, like, yeah, we can toss them off. It's not doing anything. Just because, they can't speak our language and we're... I mean, I guess humans in this film don't know how to use technology because we stopped using technology.
Right.
I shouldn't say we because I don't want to be connected to these humans.
You are connected to them.
Yeah.
I
mean, to be fair, I feel like that was like realistic. That's how it would go. If you're if these aliens show up and you literally wipe us out in 9 minutes, I'm not gonna think you're smart. That's me killing an ant in my, I get out the raid, the ant's dead. That's terrible, but that's how it works.
Yeah.
So, I mean, all that, I bought it. It just, didn't always come across. In some scenes it did, and then in other scenes it was just, like, ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, that's it. We said our nice things. All three of them.
Amen.
And that is as nice as we're going to be on this episode.
That was 9 things about the movie.
Yeah, it's called 3 Nice Things, but in total we always have 9 nice things.
That's a good way to look at it, Eric.
So, I want to thank both Nick and Crystal for being on the show, for watching this movie, and then coming up with nice things to say about it.
I cannot say that you're welcome.
Never again, Dusk.
Oh,
Never.
no.
You can thank me with the Turl action figure, mint in box.
Mint in box? I'm sure I could find one mint in box.
Please, better.
Buy this. Crystal, where can people find you?
Absolutely. Right now, people can find me over on Twitch, twitch.tv/Crystal Store. My name, and over on Twitter and Instagram at Writer Street.
Yes. And Nick?
Well, after this movie, you can find me in therapy, because this really, really did a number on me. Took me apart brick by brick. You can find me over at the All the Books Show podcast. You can find us on Twitter at All the Books Show, or SoundCloud.com/AllTheBooks, or really anywhere that you find podcasts. You can find us there talking about Battlefield Earth, for one, and many other things, author interviews and all that.
Nick did the one-on-one interview with Mike Nesmith of the Monkees.
Michael Nesmith of the Monkees. Yes, I did a 40-minute interview with Mike Nesmith about his novel, The Long Sandy Hair of Neftune Zamora. Yep. It was great. I loved it. You can find that episode, as well as interviews with Elliot S. Magan, comic book author, Martha Wells, Hugo-winning author, many, many others.
Yes.
SoundCloud.com/AllTheBooks.
All right. And again, you can find me at Dusk vs. Tweak, basically everywhere. Twitter, Twitch, that's how to find me.
MySpace,
and again,
Friendster.
Apart from most of the other shows on the Radio Meanwhile Network, again, I co-host the podcast, The All the Books Show. And we want to thank Prophetic Music for our theme song, and want to ask you to join us in upcoming episodes where we're going to tackle 2015's Fantastic Four and Dragon Ball Evolution, the live-action Dragon Ball film. And again, you can find more about this show and others like it at our network's website, radiomeanwhile.com. And please follow us on Facebook or Twitter at Nice Things Pod. Please rate, subscribe, and share the show on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, and YouTube, or wherever you get your podcast. See you next episode.
Leverage.
No!
And in this episode of Retired Meanwhile Radio series, Nice Things.
You said Meanwhile Radio.
Did I really?
Yes, you did.
I didn't. Dang it. I'm trying to